So today we're going to talk about the disadvantages of automation, the advantages of automation, and then I'll show you guys a little 2x2 prioritization matrix, and then we'll just kind of contextualize that on focusing on replacing manual actions, and I'll explain what that means. So first, let's talk about the disadvantages of automation really quick. So anybody that's been, playing the agency game for a little bit, they've tried this where, you're like, man, I'm going to get in, I'm going to solve all kinds of problems for these folks. And, the business owners a lot of times are trying to just figure things out for themselves. They don't exactly know what it means when things start to automate. And a lot of times, especially with smaller businesses, they're used to kind of just like going around like cowboys and just making whatever happen that needs to happen. So the problem when you start automating things is it creates a certain amount of rigidity to the process that they're used to. And so I'll give you an example. So sometimes you'll ask a business owner, so, how do you guys handle missed calls? What's the process for handling missed calls? And they're like, well, sometimes like Sarah answers the phone if I'm not available. And then sometimes I'll be out in the field. And then sometimes I am available. And then it's like, okay, well, who follows up with those people? Well, it's me most of the time, but then my wife will do it sometimes. It's like, those are the types of answers that you get from people when you start asking them questions about their process, especially when it's smaller local businesses and stuff like that. And they just don't have enough people. They're always kind of changing their process. So when you start building automations, you start building workflows. What happens is, you're sort of like forcing them into a flow. And a lot of times that flow is like a little bit rigid, and they're not used to that kind of rigidity. So it can create some challenges on that side of things. The other challenge or just disadvantage of building automations is a lot of times it just takes time. Like even when you start with a snapshot or a template, it just takes time to adapt that flow to whatever their work stream looks like. And so, everybody, is always looking for snapshots, and obviously Extendly sells a lot of great snapshots and all that kind of stuff. And if you've ever got Extendly snapshot or anyone else's, like a lot of times you're spending time trying to adapt whatever is in there to whatever work stream the businesses that you're actually implementing it for. And so that can be really time consuming and create challenges sometimes. Obviously the advantages are it creates a lot of consistency, like take missed call text back, for example, like one of the most common like lightweight automations. People that are actually missing phone calls on a regular basis because they just don't have enough staff. Having something in place that can actually handle all the missed calls every single time that occurs is a super high impact to the business, so can create a lot of consistency where they lack it. And then it can reduce, the load for them, the resource load. They don't need as many humans to handle some of that stuff because now we have machines doing it, kind of centralizing the effort, So those are huge advantages to the automation. So how do you know then what's the mental model for knowing when to automate something and when not to automate something? And I'll show you guys kind of how I think about it. Flip my slide here. And so this is your standard kind of 2x2 matrix here. Some people refer to this as the Eisenhower matrix. Some people just call this like a 2x2 prioritization matrix. But what we basically have here, down here, is effort to build automations, so low to high, and then impact to the business on this axis, low to high. And so here, I have basically like up in this quadrant, automate these things to get quick wins, because this is low effort, high impact to the business. So like some quick examples that I just put in here is missed call text back. Typically that's really easy to do. Doesn't take too much time. There's not a ton of variables there most of the time. Database reactivation campaigns, the same thing. Those can be stood up very quickly. The automation load is low. Review management is a little higher on effort. Like I would probably put it almost like right here, kind of in the middle, technically, if we had like a 3x3, but review management, obviously is going to be super, super high impact. And So anything that I kind of map in this quadrant, low effort, high impact, those are going to be the things typically that I'm trying to do first, like early on in the relationship, right after I sign them up type of deal. Then you get into a zone where there's always going to be some stuff that they ask you to do, or maybe you want to do, that it's like it's not that hard to do, like appointment reminders, getting like a pipeline up and running for them. It's not that it's that hard to do. It's just that the impact isn't, depending on the situation, it's not as great, right? Like if they're missing a ton of calls, that's business that they're missing. If they have a list of 3,000 people that are inactive that could be activated, and you can activate that, super high impact. If they're doing jobs all the time, not getting any reviews, and they're not ranking on Google because of it, super high impact. Appointment reminders, that might be a hole in their work stream, right? Like you could save them some time by doing that. But you could probably save them some time if they looked at a pipeline and knew where everybody was at. But you can do that later. So that's why I say automate these things later in the relationship life cycle. Then you have some stuff right here that's really high effort for us, meaning like us, the agency owner. Like if you're trying to build nurture campaigns for them, there needs to be customized copy. A lot of times like a new website would fall in here, or like a new funnel. Creating like upselling cadences, cross promotion cadences, like those are all opportunities to capture a lot more revenue for them, but the impact to the agency is high. You have a lot of custom stuff going on, a lot of variables floating around. To upsell, you need to know what's their current product stack look like, how do we transition from product 1 to product 2, all that type of stuff. Nurture, you need a bunch of custom copy. Cross promotion, you need to know how similar products are and how you can bridge people between them. So there's a lot of different things. These are just examples. So I basically say automate these things over the course of 90 to 180 days after trust is established, and charge a premium to do it. So a lot of times in the past, like when I've done nurture campaigns for someone, like, just this one alone, this could be up to, 30 grand or something for nurture, depending on how deep you're going and how thick across the stack you're getting. Cross promotion, all these things are big revenue opportunities, but they take a good amount of time, to implement, and lots of people charge different things. So, and I think I just left this as thankless tasks, and, I used an example to answer all emails, but down in the lower quadrant, you basically have stuff that's low impact to the business, high impact to you in terms of the amount of effort it's going to take. So this is kind of like the, hey, we're not going to touch this category. We're not going to automate this stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So jumping back for just 1 second, you guys can map anything into this matrix that you want. But jumping back for just a second. So focusing on replacing manual action. So I wanted to have an example for you guys of this in the video today, but I didn't have time to slide it in. But normally what I do on this piece of it is the very first thing that we always do in the relationship, if somebody isn't coming in for specifically for missed call text back or specifically for reviews or something, is we map out the business work stream for new clients. So we understand their work stream. And then we map out like what are all the manual things that they're doing right now that they don't want to be doing anymore. So like missing phone calls, following up with people to let them know their appointment's coming up, all of those kind of manual actions go on a flow chart. They get colored red, and we identify everything that's manual. And then we ask the business owner, okay, like out of all the manual stuff that's going on right now, which of these manual things are really harming you guys? Which of the manual things are costing you a lot of time and costing you a lot of money? And which ones do you want to see go away first? And then we kind of pump all those through this matrix, because the business is going to tell you like, yeah, I have all this stuff. I have this huge list. And so then for my own sanity, I take that list of manual actions, I put it into the matrix, and then I use the matrix to help me kind of figure out like, where do I want to put this as far as a quadrant? And then I'm always focusing on this quadrant first, and then this quadrant second. So after we have some buy-in from the business, we know they're willing to spend some money and pay us to do the stuff that's going to take time to do. We have enough trust in the relationship to keep them long-term. Then we'll start kind of focusing on this stuff. But initially we'll be trying to automate and focus on getting them some quick wins, hit the bottom line. So that's it, guys. That's kind of my mental model for where I even start. And before I even open workflows, I'm trying to do this work to figure out what we're actually doing when we get inside the workflows. And so let me know if you guys, I'll get out of the screen share here. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and we can convert this into an open discussion too. I'd love to hear what you guys think, and if this was helpful at all. So move my screen back over so I can see you guys. And also, I'll open it up too. I'd love to hear if you guys have any comments or questions on this first, but then after that, if you guys have any just completely non-related high level stuff that you need help with, I'm happy to help you guys out with that stuff too. We can take 15, 20 minutes to do that stuff. Nobody has questions today?
You want us to raise our hand or talk, or what do you want us to do?
Yeah, you could just jump in.
Cool.
If it starts getting crazy, I'll make people raise their hands, but we're good right now. So.
Understood. Well, I appreciated it for sure. Sometimes when I'm doing my automations or workflows, I think something's a really good idea, but I don't think about how much impact it's going to have or how much work it's going to be. And I just kind of start doing it because that sounds good. You know what I mean? And so I think organizing, like you said, before you start, what type of impact it's going to make and how much work it's going to be, and starting in that direction is probably is a great idea. So I enjoyed that for sure. Do you want me to hold my question till everybody kind of discuss, or you want me to go ahead and jump into my go high level question?
No, you can jump right in, man, if you want. Go for it.
Awesome. Okay, so I kind of did my setup and I started looking through. I haven't completely customized everything, but I saw the form that you guys had. And that's kind of where I am in my snapshot, where there's a couple more things that I would like to add to my form, as well as see if it's possible for when they fill out your form, the original form that you guys have. Mm-hmm. Is it possible for me to have the colors change within my own personal funnels as well? And if so, that's the part that I need help with. Like, how does that work? Or do I need to set up a different form?
Let me drill in a little to figure out what form you're talking about. So are you using the universal small business snapshot, or
just the quick start?
The
quick start. Okay. Yeah, just the quick start. So the way it changes the colors on the funnel and changes different information, I'm trying to figure out, is there a way for me to use the input that they put there in my own personal funnels? And if not, how do I create my own form that's similar to yours to do that?
Yeah, for sure, man. So the forms that are dynamically changing their color like that based on custom values, those custom values live in the CSS on the form. And so if you're dealing with like the same form, you can add additional fields and all that kind of stuff, and it's not going to mess up the CSS. And the CSS is on the funnel layer, not like on the form layer. So technically you can just duplicate that funnel step if you want, and put it in whatever funnel you want, pull that form out, put another custom form in, and the CSS will still adjust. It'll retain all the CSS that's changing the colors and all that kind of stuff. So that'd be like probably a easy kind of quick way to do it.
Okay, and I got a little lost in the middle. So the CSS, you said the CSS is not in the form, it's actually in the funnel. And so go from there, because I got a little lost right there. That's where I got.
Yeah, man. So the CSS is on the funnel. So if you wanted to have that happen with like another form, the color change and all that, you can just duplicate the funnel or duplicate the funnel step. Either one. You can copy the whole funnel, or you can also copy funnel steps into different funnels in your account. And so grab whatever funnel step you're working with that has that form in it, and copy that to another funnel, or just copy the whole funnel. And then so once you copy the funnel, you'll just have a mirror. It'll still have the original form in there. but you can then just go into the funnel, delete the form, and then link whatever form, like whatever new form you have that you want to use.
Got you. Okay. You're talking about the form that's actually in the funnel you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I meant was like the original form that I'm filling out at the quick start that says, like you said, I pick what color I have and it changed all the colors for all of my funnels. I'm trying to figure out, I have personal funnels myself that I've already created. And I wanted to figure out, how do I make it so my clients can change the colors on those funnels is the goal. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, could I incorporate that with the form that they're filling out, or do I need to create a whole new form? But I didn't, like I said, the funnels are already created. So copying the funnels, that mean I would have to make a whole new, and some of that stuff is, video here and stuff. There's just a lot of stuff everywhere where I would have to create a whole new funnel. Is that the only way, or is there a way for me to take the funnels that I have now and make it so that those are custom value?
Yeah. So when you're onboarding into one of the Extendly snapshots and you go through that whole onboarding flow, and you put all that information in there, all that's happening is the information that you put in on the onboarding form is then just going and populating all the custom values that live in the account. Because there's like, depending on, I forget how many the quick start has, like the small business snapshot has like over 100 custom values. So that's like a lot of custom values for people to fill out. And a lot of times they don't even know what half of them do. So that form just helps to do that. But that's all that's happening, is the custom values are just getting populated. Now, trying to remember, I'll need to check, and I can check really quick. But it used to be to where we had to actually push, once we grabbed those values from the onboarding form, we had to push those into custom values in the sub account manually through the API, because at the time you couldn't update custom values inside of a workflow. I remember seeing John mention something about this recently, and I can't remember if it's something that's on the backlog or if it's actually possible yet. So I'm looking right now to see here. And if anybody knows the answer to this question. Okay, yeah, we do. We can. Perfect. So, let's see. Current value, new value. Okay. Here, I'll just share my screen with you real quick.
Go for it.
So this is how you would do it. So if we're in a new workflow, so let's say you created a custom form for onboarding, right? You wanted to update those colors, like you said. So your trigger for the workflow might look like form submitted, which is like, the new form that you created, the new onboarding form. And I don't even know if I have any forms. Yeah, I do have forms in the demo account. Cool. So let's say this was like your onboarding form. So onboarding form. And this is where you're going to have your color codes and stuff. So then after the form submitted, you need to have some custom values that are controlling the color. But then what you can do in the workflow is add an action to update the custom value. This is a new action. I should do a training with this. So let's say, so I don't have any custom values in here that are supposed to control colors, but we can just pretend that one of these is supposed to do that, Let's say funnel hero headline. Let's say that's the custom value that controls color, right? So then you need to map your value from the form. So you go contact, because form submissions are stored contacts. So you go contact, then you go to custom fields. So you would have one of your custom fields, is the one that's capturing the color. And then you select whichever one that is. And so then so when someone passes through this workflow, it's going to take whatever values in there currently, which if it's a new account would be blank. And then it'll put the value that is stored in the custom field into the custom value. And that custom value would control the color codes.
Love that. And then the last piece of it is because I did need that. The very last thing is making the funnel actually take that custom value and change. How is that? I mean, do you know how to do that? How I would do that easily? Not easily, but how I would do that.
Let me just show you like an example real quick. Let me pull one up and then I'll reshare here.
Awesome.
There we go. Okay. So this is the funnel. If you own an Extendly Snapshot, you may have seen this before. This is what is used for reviews and all that kind of stuff. And
Awesome. I can't see your screen though.
Yeah, here, let me share. Oops, I lost my screen now. Okay, can you see it?
I can't.
Okay. So this is the funnel, so you would have, so this is a survey that's embedded right here, not a form, but it doesn't matter what's in the funnel. But there's a code block up here, right? So we can open the code editor. And then this is where the style is being defined right here. And so you can see primary color, secondary color, and then like the blacks and the grays are being called out. And so this is where the custom values are getting mapped right here. So that's your website color primary, that's your website color secondary. So if you weren't just going to copy like one of the Extendly funnels, which you could do, and you could just use these exact same custom values. If you were going to do it yourself, you would need, a little bit of understanding of how CSS works and stuff to know like where to inject the custom values to control the colors. But once you've put them in here, then they're just getting populated on the back side. And then you can see there's also custom values in here controlling the font styling. So that's like another dynamic as well. So
okay.
Yep.
All right. That's exactly what I needed. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Anybody else? I could do probably another one or so before we jump off.
Yeah, I would like to ask you a question about for the quadrant thing that you had.
Yeah, man.
I like this quadrant. I did a screenshot of it, and this is pretty awesome because it kind of puts things into perspective. I jumped on late, so I didn't catch everything you talked about, but I think it's pretty all self-explanatory here. The only question I really had was on the top left part of the quadrant where it says review management, because I get the missed call text back. That's a fast win, database reactivation, fast win. And then review management. What is that about?
Yeah, I know I was having like not second thoughts, but I had mentioned when I did that one almost kind of belongs in the middle of the two quadrants because it's not like if we had a 3x3 instead of a 2x2, I'd probably put it in like medium effort category. But all that to say, there's a few different probably layers to the review management thing, So one of them, which would be like the simplest thing to get started, is just when service or product is sold or complete, when service is complete, solicit for reviews on the very basic level, like just getting that flow going for them. So they're always asking for reviews whenever, they are done with the service or sell a product. So that'd be like kind of layer one, but you can get more complex from there, obviously, where you can get into the zone where it's like, okay, well, we're going to ask them about how their experience was, before we give them the review link. And if it was a negative experience, then we're going to put them into this kind of like other flow where we still give them the ability to leave a review, but we try to manage the negative experiences. So that's kind of like, now we're increasing the complexity a little bit. And then the most complexity, or not even complexity, but the most effort then would be if we're actually responding to reviews also and offering that as a service, which some people are doing that manually. Some people are using AI to help them with that, So there's a couple different layers to the review management thing, but at the very least, just getting the reviews flowing. So they're always at least asking for reviews. And it's actually kind of funny too, just like a side mention on this, because I've ran all sorts of review campaigns before. and some of them have been like, really elaborate, and like we'll ask them for, like, how was your experience and all this kind of stuff before asking for the review and stuff. And lately I've been split testing, just taking a much more personal route, and having the business owner just ask, hey, we're either a new business, like I'll give you an example. My younger brother recently started a fencing company like this summer. So he's kind of brand new. He doesn't have any reviews. So I told him, why don't you just tell people you're a new company, and you really need some reviews, and you'd really appreciate if they feel like you did a good job to leave one, just keep it really cut and dry. One message, send them the review link, boom, done. Don't ask them anything else. And that actually has been performing way better than kind of like this whole, yeah. So sometimes like going that simple makes sense. And other times, like if they're a larger org, it might be, if they're getting some negative feedback coming in also, it might be necessary to put as much effort into managing that as getting new reviews. Just depends kind of on the situation. So that review one, I would float in the matrix depending on what all review stuff you're touching. So
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I think that's all I have right now. I was actually I'm still kind of working. Last time we spoke, where I was I think you gave us some tips on calendars. And or was it someone else? I've talked to so many people, it's crazy. And I'm trying to get my calendars to sync up. And so
yeah, I bet it could have been, because I did a Gmail sync training 2 weeks ago, actually. I don't know if you're on that one, so
yeah, that's
maybe
the one
we
I think
were
I'm talking
chatting
about.
about that.
Mhm.
You still having some issues with that?
Yeah, I just was thinking, okay, so I got to get them to sync, and then all of the different Gmail accounts to sync, and then what do you recommend like to test? I guess I just need to set up some appointments, and then go back and look on the rest of them and see if it syncs up. Is it automatically just sync across all Gmail accounts?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Were you the one that I helped to set up the blocking calendar for and stuff, or was that somebody
Yes,
else?
it was us. Okay, I thought that was us. I'm
Okay.
sure.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure too. So, okay,
Because I
so
didn't
once
quite understand how the blocking calendar. I understand how it works into my primary Gmail account for my SaaS, but then I don't understand how it actually will go over to the other calendars.
Okay. Yeah. So do you remember how in HighLevel, like you select your primary calendar on the profile page and settings? You select
Yes.
your primary one. And so that's the one that the appointments go to. So it's going to check that calendar for conflicts always, but you can have it check a secondary calendar for conflicts also. And the reason why I had you do that is because for me, at least, I don't want like all my blocking events on my primary calendar, like I want to only see, especially my primary business calendar, like I want to see only my business events, not all the things that are blocking on my calendar. And so to have the ability to toggle blocking calendar on and off just on my view, like on my calendar on my phone, is really nice. And so, and I also don't want to share my business calendar to all my other Gmail accounts. I'm fine sharing a blocking calendar to all of them. But I don't want like my primary business calendar shared. So yeah, so that GHL block, I remember you had shared that to your other calendars, which and so
That's
you
what I did
should
when I
see,
went here.
yeah, so you should see that calendar like
Sure.
on your calendar in your other accounts when you go to your, like if you log into your other Gmail account and go calendar.google.com, you should see your blocking calendar also.
Yes.
And so you can copy any events from any other calendar to your blocking calendar. And I always, after I set this up, I just always test once in HighLevel to make sure that if I put a blocking event on the calendar, it is actually blocking the calendar in HighLevel.
Gotcha. Hmm.
And that's kind of as long as you test it, even from just it, because it doesn't really matter from what account events get to the blocking calendar, as long as the blocking calendar is blocking HighLevel, you're good to go. You can add events to that blocking calendar from any account that you share that calendar with, and it will work as long as it just works once.
So the direction in which they block. So whenever we set up something through GoHighLevel, like in Bismart, which is my sub account, right? Which is my SaaS. So when we put something there, it goes into the calendar and blocks it, and then it shares it with the other calendar. So it blocks the other calendars as well, right? Well, I guess it just kind of shows it in there on all 3 calendars because it's shared with the other 2 calendars. So what about if I set up an appointment on the calendar? Will it go reverse direction? Will it block the appointment? Will it block in the SaaS on the GHL calendar?
Yeah, if a calendar event goes in on the GHL side of things, it's going to go to your primary calendar. And anything on the primary calendar does block always. So because HighLevel is not going to let you double book yourself. So anything that goes to the primary calendar, like if you already have an event at 2 p.m. on your primary calendar, it's not going to let another event come in at 2 p.m. on the primary calendar.
And then it's got the conflict checked in. Okay. Checks for the conflicts.
Yes, so it always checks primary calendar for conflicts. Adding the blocking calendar is basically just telling it, in addition to the primary calendar, check this other calendar for conflicts also. And so you technically have 2 calendars that you're checking for conflicts, the primary calendar and your blocking calendar. So primary calendar would contain events that are being added from HighLevel. Blocking calendar would contain events that you've added, from like random Google calendars and stuff like that to your blocking calendar.
Okay. So I'm going to play with that, and then hopefully I can get it figured out. I'm going to test it and see what all works, what doesn't work. But I think I've got it set up right. I don't know. I just got to test it.
Sweet. Okay. Well, yeah, feel free to ping me too if you want, if you run into bumps or something. So.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to head out. I've got an appointment I've got to run to. Thank you for your time.
Yep, no problem. I'm going to answer these chats real quick and then I'm going to shut this down. So I'll talk to you soon, Nick. Have a good one. All right. So Ray says, is there a way to keep the chat conversation on the website for the visitor or allow them to choose? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ray, if you're still on. Yeah, if you don't mind clarifying what you mean by that,
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear
you. Essentially, I have some users that have come that are looking at the transferring the website chat to a SMS chat is a little invasive. So they'd rather just go ahead.
You said they're trying to transfer, so they don't want to use the HighLevel web chat. They'd rather use another utility.
Well, they'd rather have the option. They love the fact that they can be intimate with their visitors via SMS. But some of the people coming to the website that are then filling out the form that they actually think is going to be a chat, when they then get a text message, they're saying that's it's a little too much for them. So, is there a way to keep the chat on the website, like a true chat widget, and then not have SMS?
I get what you're asking. Not right now. Right now the web chat is kind of set up just like a form submission. That's really all it is a form submission.
Okay.
Although this conversation did come up last year during or maybe it was either one of the town halls, the HighLevel town halls, or last year at Level Up. And so there is a number of people that are requesting that it be like a full-blown chat bot, not just like a form submission. And HighLevel has responded by saying that they think that that's a great idea, but they're also concerned because like a lot of business owners don't have somebody that can just be available full time to answer chats.
Right.
So I think that the last I heard is they were thinking about doing something like that, but only if they can get it integrated in with the mobile app such that like you could respond to like real-time chats from the mobile app. And I don't know where they're at with that whole thing.
Okay, so my quick follow-up question would be, so then, do you know of any cases where GHL affiliates are using a traditional website chat and then maybe putting your form inside of there so that they're in a normal chat, and when the person wants to jump out into SMS, they can?
Yeah, there's definitely people in the high-level space that are using various different chatbots, like third party. I mean, one of the probably like largest, more like enterprise level, services for that is Intercom. So like a bunch of people use that. One of the companies here, in the high level space that is kind of I think there's been some stuff kind of that Extendly's tried with them, and I don't know how deep it's went, but Chat HQ has some of that going on also if you want to check them out.
Sure.
They're a high level kind of spin-off company. They work with a bunch of people in the high level space, so they might be a good person to look into also.
Okay, but from a technology standpoint, it does make sense to have a regular chat, and then just like in a regular chat, I can place a form, and if they complete that form, then I can jump out to the GHL SMS. Okay.
Yeah, I lean towards like agreeing with you on, I think if you're going to have a form, you have a form. And if you're going to have a chat, you have a chat. But it always has felt a little odd to me to have it like a chat bot, or have a form positioned as a chat bot. I think that's a little bit of an odd experience. So,
yeah. But I mean, it's better to ask for forgiveness sometimes than permission. So,
yeah.
I appreciate
Totally.
it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. All right. And then I think hopefully I'm saying your name right. Akshay here. Is it possible to get the previous insurance snapshot you guys had before it was moved from Extendly? When will insurance and mortgage snapshot be updated and available to use? Akshay, you need to reach out to Ryan about whether or not you can get the insurance snapshot still. I don't know the answer to that. And I also don't know when insurance and mortgage will be up yet at this point. But Ryan would probably be a good one to reach out to see if you could still get it. And then Heidi says, what is your suggestion of where to start? I'm assuming the things quadrant 1. What price range would you suggest we charge each customer? Yeah, Heidi. So I would start with the upper left quadrant for sure. The reason why is because that stuff's pretty easy to start without a ton of effort. And you can have, it's really easy to create SaaS memberships that are, like you can say like 97 a month for like missed call text back, or 197 a month for missed call text back plus reviews, or something like that. It's pretty easy to set like a fixed price every month and make sure that you're not going to get yourself way in over your head on the amount of work you're doing for people if you deal with things that are in the up left quadrant. Once you've had people on board for a few months and all that, and the relationship's going good and it seems like they want to spend more money and you potentially go deeper with you, I recommend adding things like in the upper right quadrant to the list of things that you can offer as like not complimentary services, but like add-on services. And you have to kind of price those just depending on what you're going to be doing for them specifically. So like if you're building a nurture campaign, it's like, well, what are we nurturing to? An appointment, a sale? How long is the nurture campaign? How many touch points? How much copy do we have to write? Like a lot of those are going to be like, you can still sort of templatize them, but you do have to start with kind of like a template, but there's some variable cost involved but you can also charge people a lot for all that stuff. So, but it is in general things in the upper left, targeting like like a one, like anywhere from 97 to kind of what HighLevel recommends, anywhere from 97 to 297 a month, depending on what all you're offering. Maybe just missed call text back, 97 a month. Maybe if it's missed call text back plus reviews, it's 197 a month. And if it's like missed call text back plus reviews plus something else, like you could do the full 297 or something like that. So that's what I like to do, is like kind of like $100 a month per like major thing that we're doing.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
cool. All right, guys. Hopefully this was good. Appreciate all y'all. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next Monday.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Want to learn Go High Level in a structured format? Check out the GHLacademy.com by Extendly. We guarantee to save you 6 months of wasted subscription costs for HighLevel. Just visit the GHLacademy.com.